Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? This is Joe Figueroa with another video on our series Anatomy of a Dance, where I break down social dancing count for count, pointing out everything the dancers do. This week's video is going to be a breakdown on this dance between Terry and Busra. There are several videos of them dancing, but I'm going to talk about this one in particular. They are all great, but this one caught my eye. So here's your chance to subscribe and ring the bell, because we're starting right now. This was at the Magic Slovenia Salsa Festival back in January. Way back then, when we could all dance with each other. Anyway, there are a lot of great techniques used here by both dancers. Terry, of course, gets very creative, and the both of them really showcase musicality. Starting with this piece right here. The music is about to come to a break. This is important to remember because music is pattern, so this break will likely happen again later. Remember that. They begin in regular handhold position. His left to her right, his right to her left. Terry raises his right hand and flicks her left hand back over her head. Immediately after, he flicks her right hand with his left hand, that is low, in an arc, so it will swing from Busra's low right up in a half circle. He has his right hand waiting, and she swings her hand from low to high to meet him. While that's happening, Terry offers his left hand low. You can see it right here. This puts them in a right hands over left hands position. Right away, Terry begins to pass the right hand over her head to imply a turn or spin, which Busra is more than ready for. Look at how as soon as Terry makes right hand connection, Busra tilts her right foot in that direction. She felt the slightest pressure in her right hand and reacted immediately. That's what I call hair trigger, an example of training. She is completely immersed in the dance. That's my favorite kind of follow. Busra takes it a step further by raising her left knee during the turn. She was expecting the turn to complete full circle, facing him. But Terry senses the break in the music is coming, so he raises his left hand hold to shoulder level. This will not only turn her halfway, having her face away from him, it will also put her in a T position. This works beautifully with the music and Busra's knee lift. Everything came together perfectly. Terry releases both handholds and slides to the right. Notice here leads how, during her half turn, Terry opens his stance, blocking her path, giving her no other option but to turn on the spot. In addition, he is able to use his stance to brace her when the turn stops suddenly. It's the little things, people. As he slides to the background, Busra creates some lovely arm styling, and then starts to turn to her right. As she does so, she head rolls to her right. I'm pointing this out because it happens again later. See? She has the fantastic ability to isolate her body movement, almost like a belly dancer. I wonder if she was ever trained in belly dance, hula, or Bollywood. This next thing is really nice. I've seen Terry do this in other dances. What we have here is a double inside turn to check for the follow. That is it at its base. But there's more here. Terry has the follow's left arm wrapped at the waistline. This is a great way to start the double turn. You can use the arm hold to create tension and give the follow the indication that you are trying for more than one turn. Terry, however, is going to confuse us even further by stealing a turn for himself during her double. You can see here his turn is in sync with her second turn. There's her first turn. She's facing forward and so is he. Now, as her second turn begins, he is hook turning in congress with her. They both end facing forward on the line. He's not only hook turning, he's crouching down on bended knee. You can't quite see it, but he places his weight during his hook from his right to his left and continues to pivot. Incredibly difficult to do. He could have put his left down and turned with his weight on both, but nope. Look here how he raises her hand up just enough to get over his head, which is lower now since he's crouched. Then brings it back down to her middle so she can continue to turn. Sidesteps to his right again to put himself back on the line and give her the check. For those of you that want to attempt this sort of thing, I would suggest first, for leads, to practice executing the double inside turn for the follow without the hook turn for yourself. With a left hand to left hand hold, you can accomplish a double turn for the follow without your turn and without changing hand hold. Practice this first. Then separately practice hook turns while crouching. Then practice giving the follow a single inside turn while crouching. Once you have all those ingredients down, give it a shot. The last thing I want to show is Terry's use of touch and Busra's receptiveness to it. In past videos, I have talked about the monkey mentality. A good lead should always keep one point of contact on the follow when executing patterns. Look here as Busra comes in for this back-led crossbody lead. Terry brings her to him so they are side by side. As she is getting to the end of the line for the side-by-side position, Terry places his right hand just about at the small of her back. They backbreak on 6 because they're dancing on 2. Terry guides her forward and stops her from going any further than her forward step with her left, which would be her 2-step. Look at how Terry slides his hand from the small of the back to her right side, then uses his fingertips at her hip or possibly ribcage to stop her once she has stepped with her left, then slides his hand back to where it was and presses forward, as if his intention was to bounce her back and forth for the rest of the count. But she reacted differently. Busra felt the hand placement and began to walk forward. She feels his hand grip her on the right side and also feels the pressure he offered in his left hand, and she stopped moving forward after she stepped with her left. Now the guidance is back, not forward. She could have just stepped the regular basic steps here, but because she feels his hand now at her back, pressing forward, she body rolls along with it. He wanted to only have part of her react, and she reacted perfectly. The stripes on her bodysuit tell the story for her. Look at the wave created in the lines because of how her body is moving. She presses her spine forward, extending her ribcage. In addition, with her right hand to her head, her arm is stretched up, just helping to accent the line. She is malleable. It's like she's made of cartilage. Terry quickly brings his hand to the front again to prevent her from traveling forward down the line. Rather than slide the hand to her back, he moves up to her position, which creates a wrap of his arm at her back. This tells her that he is no longer behind her, but beside her on her left. So to her it feels like he is preparing her for another inside turn led from their left hands. Busra styles with her right hand extended out and back. She steps forward on 2 and is probably expecting that inside turn I mentioned, but using the monkey mentality, Terry raises his right arm up at her side, taking his hand off of her but maintaining contact with his wrist and arm, catching her right arm that she had out for styling, eliminating the option for her to turn left. With that arm connected to hers, he slides his wrist down her arm so he can collect her hand at the end. Meanwhile, he raises their left hands over her head to confirm for her that instead of a turn, it is now a walk step, turning her to her right to end with left hands over rights. You can see the smile on her face shows her surprise. Of course, he goes on from here, but I think that's enough for you people to study. The dance ended almost as it began, with that same accent in the music. They are both with rights over lefts again. Terry implies a turn to her right, puts her in the T position again. She raises the knee again. Terry quickly begins to spin her with the right hands counterclockwise. He places his left hand up to have it waiting for her. As she gets full circle, her body meets Terry's hand that was waiting, stopping her cold to go along with the music. A little dramatic look to the left for effect, and the story is told. This whole dance is a lot of fun to watch. I have yet to meet Busra. I can only imagine what her follow was like, but I bet it feels as good as it looks here. This content is for you to benefit from, so any feedback you might be able to give me would be greatly appreciated. Comments, likes, and even dislikes will help me to provide you with the best content that I can. That's going to do it for me. I hope you guys like this video. If you do like this, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one, and remember, keep dancing.